A negative side effect of my otherwise awesome job is that I don't really get as excited as I used to about going to the movies, cause, it's work now. I mean, I'm still totally psyched to see certain things, but instead of being able to just focus on, oh boy, I want to see that, I also have to be thinking about screening schedules and how long it's going to take to make an episode out of it, and you get the idea. Plus, I see publicity and trailers and have to keep an eye on the development side news so much, I don't even get to be surprised much anymore. But once in a while, you get a smaller movie that comes out of nowhere and doesn't get too much hype and sounds just so right up my alley, I actually get a little bit of that old feeling back. And for all of 2010, that movie for me has been Monsters, an independently produced yet professional-looking, character-focused sci-fi thriller shot guerrilla style for about $15,000 using consumer-level equipment, and it's a movie about Earth being invaded by ginormous octopus monsters. Holy crap! I mean, that's just a whole bunch of stuff I love, all mashed together. It's like a Reese's cup, inside a blueberry pie, with Cool Whip, served to me by Anne Hathaway, on a speedboat, in the Mushroom Kingdom, on Christmas. I could not be more psyched to see this movie, and now that I've finally seen it, I could not be more disappointed. What a f***ing letdown. I am literally devastated. Monsters has actually, I believe, taken a year or two off my life. I am slightly but unmistakably a more bitter, spiteful, jaded, unhappy person permanently for having suffered through this movie. I didn't just hate Monsters, I hated myself while watching it. I hated the director. I hated these two people. I hated every overeager festival critic who said it was good. I hated the human race for producing all of us. But most of all, I hated why I hated it. I hated that someone goes and makes a character-focused, low-budget genre movie, and I have to pan it precisely because it's a cheap and character-focused genre movie. Because it makes me sound like the kind of witless, no-attention span douche that I'm always railing against here. The problem is, there's a reason why even movies that can't afford good action or effects tend to focus on those things anyway. They're easy to control. Saying we're going to focus on the script and the characters is noble and sounds good, but good writing and good acting are hard, and if you fail at them, you fail much more visibly. That's why Sharktopus is technically a better movie than The Room, because at least Sharktopus has a Sharktopus. Story-wise, the setup sounds pretty good. A space probe full of alien samples crashes in Mexico, and the ecosystem starts to go all alien. Years later, an infected zone between Mexico and the United States is chock full of Godzilla-sized Cthulhu wannabes and has been closed off, but humanity doesn't seem to be winning. Our hero is a photographer who's been dispatched to extract his boss's daughter from the area for some reason, and after a misunderstanding, they wind up having to make their way on foot through the infective zone. And right there is the basic problem. Depicting the monsters mostly through quick shots and sound effects and focusing on the evolving relationship of the two main characters is in itself a good idea, except that the two main characters are horrible. The guy is a one-dimensional douchebag, the girl is an annoying pain in the butt, and neither of them ever once act or speak like a believable human being. The only thing that keeps them from being the most obnoxious on-screen couple in the modern age of cinema is that the female lead isn't played by Katherine Heigl. Thank goodness for small favors. As you may have surmised, the film is attempting to use the monster quarantine scenario to make a topical socio-political point about illegal immigration. Though the script is so heavy-handed about it, it makes Machete's take on the subject look subtle by comparison. In this respect, it becomes tragically obvious that the movie really just wants to be District 9, but it lacks both the technical and intellectual prowess to really pull it off. Instead, it resorts to cheap melodramatic gimmicks. For example, District 9 upended our assumptions about the hideous alien prawns by giving them sympathetic, richly detailed personalities. Monsters tries to do the same thing by having its title creatures make whale noises. Gee, subtle. All of this builds up to a you-have-to-be-kidding-me surprise ending, which is composed and executed with such bombastic melodramatic sincerity I almost felt bad about laughing so hard at it, because it so deeply reveals that director Gareth Edwards has not only no idea what he's doing beyond basic technical skill, but that he clearly thinks he's made some kind of hugely important, edifying statement on monster movies and love and politics and humanity, when all he's really done is show the world what might have happened if M. Night Shyamalan had directed Cloverfield. So this feels a little more recent than, it's not, but it feels more recent than some of the other retro horror things that I'm putting up for the remasters in October. It's going up mainly because this is a Gareth Edwards movie, and he just had his new movie, The Creator, come out. And in hindsight, I felt for a long time that I was too hard on this movie, because it's now known that Gareth Edwards got bumped up from this to Godzilla, which I also didn't care for much of the same reasons. And he got the Rogue One job, was one of the two cited at least cases, him and Lord and Miller of Lucasfilm looking at what a director had put together on a Star Wars movie and saying, no, we want something a little more conventional. Allegedly, depending on who you ask, Tony Gilroy did basically a cleanup job on Rogue One to get it into what Lucasfilm considered releasable state, and now Tony has Andor. That's why I was always sort of remembering this review as maybe being too harsh, because maybe I was just not in the right mood for it. Maybe I was just taking out my frustrations at the found footage genre and not enjoying Cloverfield and not enjoying this whole thing. And maybe he actually can tell a visual story. Maybe this movie did not suck as much as I thought it did. But now having seen the creator, which I will get a review up of at some point, I saw it a day before it came out, and I really wanted to mull over it, because it just feels like this guy is so talented at the technical side of what he does. It's frustrating that he's so bad at the narrative side of it, but it now really does feel like a filmmaker who's just in the wrong part of their job, and it's very frustrating to say that, because it feels like their heart is in the right place and they're trying. But now going back to this one after the creator, I feel like I had him pegged from the beginning in these criticisms. This is still a little harsh. I think this was still in the early era of the style that I was approaching reviews in, that, I'm going for the joke and the angry tone and how snarky can I be. So stylistically, I'm not the biggest fan of the approach, but opinion-wise, I think I feel better about how I framed this than I have for a long time, because, unfortunately, I think problems that I felt were evident in this and then revealed in Godzilla, and may well have been there in whatever the original cut of Rogue One was, have now been played out in the creator. And it's unfortunate. I don't like that being the case. I would prefer that people who want to make original stuff have the talent and the skill to back up what they want to do. It doesn't always play out like that, and that sucks. I don't want that to be the case. But, the movie's out there. Judge for yourself. A lot of people feel differently than me on this one, so give it a shot if you want.